Hello everyone, I'm Michael Brown. Since you're watching this, you obviously have an interest in Corvettes. Well, I do too. In fact, I have a small collection here in Texas that's been featured in several national publications. And because of that, I've come to know about a lot of other Corvette collections around the country. Big and small, public and private. I think we're probably alike. You, like me, enjoy seeing, thinking about, wishing for, owning, and driving Corvettes. And you like looking at Corvette collections. So we're putting together a proposed TV series on Corvette collections around the country. It's called, what else? Vette Collections. Here's an edited sample of what we're putting together. If you like it, tell your friends and help us make it happen. Enjoy the short tour of a few collections we've visited so far. The horses corralled in this enormous garage are resting peacefully under the hoods of more than 24 classic Corvettes, spanning the first, second, and third generations with a sampling of the fifth and sixth. And don't adjust your video screen. If they appear to all be black, they are.
When I first decided I was going to do the collection, I had a couple of black cars, and I thought, well, I'll just start there. And then as I researched more, I found that the black cars are much harder to find. And of course, being black, you can't hide anything, so you really have to have a nice car.
If nice cars is the criteria, he's home free. By model year, the Corvettes start with a like-new 54 and cover every succeeding year through 1968, with both coupes and convertibles in each of several of those years. In a nondescript building on the outskirts of Fort Wayne, Indiana, Ed Foss is on a personal mission. He's building a collection of some of the most original low-mileage Corvettes on the planet. While it may sound like a pitch from a car salesman to say these are low-mileage used cars, believe me, these are low-mileage used cars.
I have a 8-mile 78 pace car, 1969 L88 with 6,000 original miles. This is a 1971 with 1,900 miles. This is a 1970 big block 454 and it has 1,100 miles on it. And this is a 1956 and this has 2,200 original miles on it. The car is only at 1,300 miles, which makes it the lowest, as far as I know, and I believe it's documented, it's the lowest mileage 68 that exists. This is a 1996 Grand Sport with 160 miles on it. And this is a 1982 Collector's Edition with 6.9 miles on it.
See what I mean? Bob McDormand began the dealership that bears his name in suburban Columbus, Ohio in 1965. Just after Corvette entered its second decade, and Corvette production was in the middle of the mid-years. But 12 years before he became a dealer, he had become aware of Corvettes right from the start.
In 1953, a Chevrolet dealer that was in the town of London, Ohio, where I lived, came around the corner in a 53 Corvette. And I realized who was driving it. And I was mowing my mother's lawn. I thought, damn. Yeah, well, I went down to Sherman the next day and I spent 2 hours looking at the car. Just couldn't believe they designed a car that sharp. So from then on, I really loved them. I never could own one. When they came out with their 63 split one, I wanted that so bad I could taste it, you know. So I really never got to own one until I became a dealer.
By then, however, a case could easily be made that Bob McDormand made up for lost time. The present collection, spread out over more than a half-dozen buildings at the back of the dealership's lot, contains, at last count, well over 100 vintage and newer Corvettes, along with about 80 classic Chevrolets of all kinds, more than 200 cars. Tony Perella admits to being a fanatic on documentation for each of his cars, paperwork carefully filed on the restoration, photos of the work, and receipts. But there's more to Tony Perella than just collecting Corvettes. Much more. The dream at the end of his Corvette Rainbow can be found in this architectural rendering in the foyer of his shop.
I'm collecting the cars in the first place is to build a museum for children's charities. That's my goal. Hopefully that'll be the finish of my life's work.
The world-class museum would carefully integrate the history of Corvette with modern American history, and each Corvette year model would be set in a diorama reflecting what happened in America during that particular year. Tony Perella was born in upstate New York with several fingers missing. He's quick to point out that he was fortunate. His family could afford proper medical attention and the numerous surgeries that allowed him to become a successful businessman as an adult. In 2001, he was about to start the Corvette Museum.
I had cut a deal with 2 hotels that were going to have about 50 acres of land just outside the Dallas airport. 2 hotels were going to lease 10-acre parcels on each end of that property. Proceeds from those hotels would pay all the operating expense of the museums. And then September 11th happens.
The hotels pulled out and the dream faded. Well, Tony's dream may have faded, but that's not the end of the story. Not yet. In the meantime, watch for the series on Vette Collections. We hope to get it out later this year. Let us hear from you, and thanks for watching The Sample.